Is this the strategy to defeat the people on the left who are dancing with the people on the right? I think some people might be doing this unconsciously. Some people are doing it very strategically. Some people maybe have always been part of the right and just were like dancing with the left for a little bit. This one account, I just want to make this clear. This is no reflection of my beliefs, but I did think it was a very creative strategy to take this on. We have Brian Bakunin, who has a new site. I just have to give this guy a plug because it's so creative. Let's play it.
Anybody on the left who's considering working with anyone on the right is literally a Nazi enabler. It's got to be war.
But I am sorely disappointed. I have been promised a fascist authoritarian coup directed by Vladimir Putin himself for 4 years now, and I'm getting a little impatient, waiting to see how it all goes down.
Anti-establishment populism is not the answer to defeating fascism. Art and music and righteous indignation and laughter and love and fun are. I have arrived to not introduce myself really as much as not me, us, that we all seem to have forgotten since COVID. But remember that slogan and remember that fun we were all having?
Yeah.
Well, you don't seem to have remembered it on your show, so I have come to force the fun.
His whole idea is that he's using humor and disco dancing and art to illustrate what's happening and the rise of the far right. So I thought it was a very creative way of doing this. And
yeah, I feel like I'm on acid.
I love it, man. I'm like, what are we doing in our show? I got a purple screen.
Yeah, that was a lot. I feel, like I just went to a really wild party and I need to lie down now.
He is one of the few people who's really like breaking it down right now about this thing we've all been complaining about. And we get toggled into these like wars over vaccine mandates or masks or force the vote or all these things that they keep bringing up that they're trying to suck us into that debate rather than talking about the rise of the right and what that pathway is and talking about, what it takes to build a coalition so that we can defeat the right. Instead, they are creating their own. It's a very like Roger Stone tactic where Roger Stone used to just put in instigators at all rallies. And then you'd be like, how'd the fights break out? And then it's like, turns out it was the guy being paid by Roger Stone who just went in there and punched a bunch of people. Similar, but, in the media space.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a naivete that comes along with leftists who want to ally with right wingers. And let me specify that I'm talking about like there's an anti-establishment left and there's an anti-establishment right. And there are some people on the left who say, well, both of us are outside of power. So both of us have this vested interest in taking down the people who are in power. And what that sort of leaves out of the equation is that leftists want to get into power and create this more equitable world where everyone is reaping the benefits of living in a modern technological society where people shouldn't have to work as much or as hard, and they should be able to have access to healthcare and clean food and water and all of these positive things. And right wingers want to get into power and abuse that power in exactly the same way that the current power structure does, only even fucking worse. So I mean, like, there's no like give and take in this relationship. Like when the left gets into power versus when they enable the right to have power, like enabling people like Trump to take power, they're not going to turn around and pat you on the back and be your friend after they get power. Right. They're going to fucking kill you. Like, no, that's literally what happens every time. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when right-wing authoritarians ultimately take power, whether it's through populist means, coups that occur from the top down or bottom up. Ultimately, the first thing that happens is they round up all of their political opponents and they kill them.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't necessarily happen like through roundups the way it has historically in other countries. But in our country, they just have an armed force, police force that just runs around and shoots people and uses whatever excuse and legal defense that they can because they've lobbied for it. Like that is the same thing for folks who are like, oh, it'll never happen here. It is happening here. It's just it's just structured a little bit differently. All right, Julia, on that note, they're going to come for you and kill you. Don't align with them.
Yeah. I just think it's never a good idea to trust a Nazi.
Don't trust Nazis.